Hey everybody, that's right, it's Pot of Wine, and we've got a very special, serendipitous occasion here. I think it's the 23rd anniversary of the album Blue, and just by happenstance, my old friend and production partner who co-produced and recorded the album Blue, Jason Carmer, is here to talk about it. Here being, we're in Austin, Texas. And yeah, Jason, we've been catching up downstairs. It's good to see you.
Likewise, Stephan. It's great to see you too, man.
We're going to talk about the making of the album Blue. And I'd like to start off by saying I don't remember much. But it was at the Plant Studios where Fleetwood Mac made Rumors.
Yes.
And also, let's see, I think Stevie Wonder recorded there. No, Metallica did.
No, they did. Yeah,
Metallica Wonder made the Black Album there.
Stevie Wonder did. Metallica, Sly and the Family Stone.
Yeah, put that thing in your mouth.
Many people.
It's classic.
Many people.
Yes.
I should know how to do this. I
you
should
can.
know how to
you really
work
should.
This microphone.
How should we go about talking about making this record? We start with the song Anything, which became the first single off the record, and I think people were upset that it was too short. And these days, Ice Spice has got a big hit with the song Munch. I think it's 1 minute and 30 seconds. And Anything is, how long does Anything clock in at?
1:45.
It's 1:45?
I remember that.
Damn.
What I remember is this, is that we had that song, and you had written it. The label, Elektra wanted it to be longer.
Uh-huh.
So I remember editing it. Because you wanted it, you were very adamant on it being the lead single.
Huh.
And
went to number 9 on the charts.
I remember hanging out with Sean Beresford, trying to make edits to get it up to 2 minutes plus.
So I told you the one thing that I would change on making this record is Pro Tools, digital recording, had just started, and we said, let's make this album on Pro Tools. And it was, of course, amazing to work on, but it sounds like the beginning of Pro Tools to me. I think it's one of the best albums that I think Blue is one of our best albums. And when I listen to a song like, say, Never Let You Go, it sounds incredibly clean to me, almost antiseptically so.
Yeah, you think? I mean, at the time when we were doing that, it seemed like we were pretty ahead of the game.
Oh yeah, we were early on Pro Tools and stuff.
We were.
Yeah, we were.
I remember we had vacationed with some other people, and we were in the gym in Hawaii working out, and they played a bunch of pop songs, and then they played our song. They played that song.
They played Never Let You Go?
Yeah, they played Never Let You Go right after, goddamn it, I don't remember her name. But, I mean, we were on the radio. We were there.
Natalie Imbruglia, and it was Torn. It fucking
very
was.
Well could be. It very well could be. But the point is that we were charting, and people were digging it, and we had used the technology that was available, and it worked,
Okay, no question there. I'm glad that Anything was the first song on that record, and we just re-recorded Anything for an unplugged record, right? Did we?
I don't think so.
Oh.
You could edit on my part also.
No, I told you, this is a shitty podcast. This is what we do.
Okay, well, if you sound stupid, so do I.
This is... Huh?
We did Faster. And we also did Never Let Go.
Oh, we should have done Anything. Because that would sound amazing with a mandolin. What?
Volume 2.
We are going to do Volume 2 of the Unplugged. Maybe we'll do Unplugged Volume 2 in Mexico at Jason's studio.
Well, there you have it. Then that could make
He's
us
got
reconcile these.
He's got the Bob Marley Legends board, and what else was on there? On your console?
Black Sabbath.
Yeah, but Avalon.
Many things.
Avalon
Many famous
was recorded on that
records,
console.
including that one.
Track 2, I think maybe my favorite song. What at least any list of my like 5 favorite Third Eye Blind songs includes this one, Wounded. And it is a staple. It's been a staple at every show that we've ever done. Yes, we didn't do it. We didn't play it today, but it does definitely get played often.
So Wounded. First off, like with Blue, we spent so much time working on these songs. I mean, we were in the studio for so long.
Yeah, how long were we in the studio? I remember I moved into a houseboat. It was rad.
I remember that too. Yeah,
I really enjoyed living in that houseboat.
we had all 3 rooms at the plant. So those are the A, B, and C. So A is the Metallica room. B was the Metallica room, and C.
No, B wasn't the Metallica
Well,
room.
it was the
B
Stevie Wonder room.
It was Stevie Wonder and Fleetwood Mac's room.
Right.
That's where
right.
Rumors got recorded.
And then the other room though was the
The mastering room, wasn't it?
no, the weird round room with
Oh yeah.
that
It was,
oh, geez,
it was
man.
the mastering room, wasn't
What a
it?
great time to like remember like names of artists. No, that was the
Oh,
Sly and the Family
Sly and the
Stone.
Family Stone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was the Sly room,
Yeah.
and there was the Stevie Wonder room, and there was the Metallica room. We had all 3 of those rooms booked for like 6 months. So I hope you can edit like this up into that.
Now all the dilly-dally is the whole point of this thing. And this is like the most information that's ever had on a podcast that we've ever done. Somebody had said to me once, there's a line in there, back down the bully to the back of the bus. It's time for them to be scared of us, is like the quintessential. That's it. That's the Third Eye Blind, sort of the mega line, if you will. I don't know that that's true, but it doesn't hurt my feelings. All right, track number 3 is 10 Days Late. And this song was from a story that a friend of mine told me about getting his girlfriend pregnant again, and kind of him like figuring out what he was going to do when she said, yeah, I'm keeping it. It was just kind of his like journey into coming to terms with this, that he's going to be a daddy.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic to like be exploring now.
It is. That's right.
It's weird to think that we were like more ahead of the curve than the current curve.
Yeah, that's true. We
now.
regressed a little bit, but it just got kind of revalidated, interestingly enough. That one was recorded in A, and we got a bunch of kids to come in and try to do this little choir thing, and they kind of over-enunciated the, baby daddy, keep your boo. They were like, it was overly done, and they loved, they kind of loved doing it.
That was kind of weird. I remember.
There's a bit of a ham, yeah.
Who like? So, did they come from like a church or something?
No,
like
they
that?
weren't really church. I don't know what choir it was. It was like a school choir or something, but they were not. They were not from a church, but they were kind of acting that way. They were, you know, it's supposed to have some like.
Well, I just remember that, like, you know, I mean, the song is basically, you know, it's about having an abortion, right? So
Or not having an abortion.
or not,
yeah.
right? It's about that question mark. Right?
Yes.
And I remember, I don't want to say that the adults who brought the children from the church or wherever.
No, they didn't. They didn't
F
bring.
they came
They
from?
weren't actually from a church. Yeah, it
But
wasn't.
they
It wasn't
came-
that. It is literally 10 Days Late. Is literally a song about choice.
Right, but I do remember being there behind the console and looking at the faces of the adults who brought the kids
Yeah.
when they started to realize that maybe this song was a question mark about, like, you know, abortion. You know, that they were kind of like, I don't know, it just yeah, like maybe like they were from a church or something like that.
Well, Wounded's about rape. So this is the Blue album. We've got we've got rape, we've got abortion. Let's see what other subjects we're covering on this pop classic. On to Never Let You Go. So this one was written for my ex-girlfriend at the time, who was in med school at Harvard University, and she was doing her surgery rotation, and she was in the OR room assisting on an appendectomy or something like that. And this song came on. The main doctor liked to listen to music in there, and it came on. And so while she was in there, she was listening to a song about her. I remember the stupid things, the mood rings, the bracelets and the beads, nickels and dimes, yours and mine. We were subletting a house when this song was written, and we were extremely poor. And this guy had a giant, huge bucket of change that he kept, and we would steal it. But our rule was that we would never take quarters. We would only take nickels and dimes. And we would go, and we would get a small gelato. But it was.
What was her name again? I remember her, but I don't remember her name.
Tara?
Tara.
We do first names on only. Yeah,
right.
yeah. But yes, her name was Tara. Yes,
I remember.
It still is Tara. Yeah. And we remain family to this day. I wrote that riff. Down. It was a mistake. What was really happening was I was trying to learn how to play Sweet Jane.
Lou Reed song.
Down. But I couldn't figure it out while I was doing it. And as I was trying to learn it, like by ear, I was like, well, that's interesting. And I thought the beat was so weird. I just kind of kept going with it. Instead of standing on a corner, I went.
Well, I remember this. What I remember
is every good reason, huh?
Well, I remember being in the studio, and we were in the third room, and you were playing guitar, and in that room, I guess it was the Sly room, which was the SSL room that was the smaller room at Plant, because once again we had rented all these rooms out, and you were playing guitar in the back, and I remember you going like dun 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 dun. You kept playing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's tight. Like, what is that? What is this? And you just kind of like, you didn't say anything. That was a riff that popped up early in our recording of that album. But that riff that song didn't present itself until much later. And I could see that you were working on it.
Yeah. That one took a lot of work to come together, to get the bass line together on that track, to get Brad to find a groove.
The guitar.
It's
the beat is weird, because I remember being in Studio 3, because I started we had a SB1200 or a drum machine. And I started you were playing it, and I tried to play the beat.
Yeah, where the fuck is one? Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And of course, I fucked it all up. Felt stupid about it.
Well, this is why it's really good to have Brad in the band.
Yeah, because he's a drummer.
Because he done unfucked it. Yeah, that one, and then we had this sort of stringy breakdown that was kind of like Bach, if you will.
A mock Bach.
And no, and it got one of the best write-ups in the Village Voice, talking about how they valued this song. It's actually kind of a really great moment. Wait, let me find the rest of this. All right. Deep Inside of You. This is one that I wrote for the first record that did make the first record. And
was that old?
Yeah. Deep Inside of You actually was considerably older, and it became a huge, huge hit in India. And it's why we toured India. And years later, we went to India. And we went to Bombay, and it could be that we wore kind of white. I don't know what those costumes are, but I think it might have been what we wore in the video. But we went to India, and we played our set, and then for encores, somebody comes out and goes, "Could you please play Deep Inside of You?" And we went out, and it turned into a fucking Bollywood musical. The crowd just went off, and they heard the track that they want to hear. So it was really our only hit song in India. And there's so many people in India that makes it probably the biggest song we ever had.
I remember watching the video for that song later on, and while we were working on the next record.
That is
now we weren't in India,
now,
so
Jason,
maybe
that
I'm
is
digressing
that is the kind
or
of
like changing the subject.
Little nugget, the little tidbit there that people just go crazy over. That you remember seeing a video of it later on.
No, because I remember it charted.
Golden moment.
No, I remember it was charting, and I remember it was like
deep inside of you. Yes.
No, we did that. Like we no,
and
we
I
went
still
to
have
NRG.
the sunglasses.
Why did we go to NRG? Do you remember being in NRG? Like we. Did
I still
some,
have the sunglasses that I made that video with, and they're still really a perfectly good pair of sunglasses. Some things endure. Thousand Julys. Basically, it's our ode to AC/DC.
You want to hear the story with that song?
Yeah.
All right. So this is. Do you know how much we spent to make the guitars, to make the guitar tracks for that?
We had a lot of pedals.
I figured it out. No,
it's pretty damn.
I did
shoegaze.
the math.
Tell me.
Okay, so the riff on that with the guitars, and this is bad. I mean, whatever. But anyways, so we spent so much time to get the pocket for that guitar riff. And yeah, it took like we spent $30,000 to
really?
make the that guitar riff that we looped.
Da 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 da. Really? Wow.
Yeah, we spent $30,000 to make the fucking 4x loop of that. Why do I know that? Because I was the co-producer and the guy recording.
I remember that. It was such a fucking drag to record that damn
It's a
part.
comedy. I mean, we spent $30,000 on that.
And all the time we were making fun of. And all the time we're making.
How much does it cost to make this? And
now, like,
$30,000.
Now it costs $30,000 to make my entire last record. Like
Yeah,
it didn't
$30,000.
cost anything to make that record because on Our Band Apart, we all just went in the room and played the song, and if we didn't like it, then we would all go back in the room and play it all together again, and just kind of like, you know, back to old school. Those records are so much more expensive then than the records are that we make now. And the whole time we were doing that, we were making fun of Lars Ulrich.
Dude, we spent $1 million making that fucking Blue record, man. I mean, it was $800,000 was the end total. It is when I talked to Elektra. I mean, I don't know. You tell me, but like, what I heard when I talked to Sylvia Rohn, as I remember, like at the very end of the day, it was like 800K or $1 million or something stupid like that.
Did we give that
But
to the plant?
Correct me
and
if
it
I'm
still
wrong.
smelled like mold.
No, it wasn't just them.
But
It was
here's the
whole
thing is we were in there looping a goddamn guitar track and making fun of Lars Ulrich because he had like
He shit on the table.
he had,
and the
no
fucking-
no he had 200 he had like 200 edits. He was recording with Bob Rock, and then he was done with his 200 edits. He stood up there and goes, "This song rocks. I rock."
Right.
And we thought that was so funny.
Right. Well,
and
yeah,
we're basically
well-
doing the same shit.
We did the same thing. No, the story with that, right, was that the assistant who was helping us out in Studio A told us that he had edited. He took a week or two or whatnot to edit fucking dude's drums, like staying up all night editing all the drums, and he finally finished it. And then Lars walked in the room.
Yeah.
He said, "I want to hear my
Sitting-
drum."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay, I just finished it." And he'd play. And then Lars, who's like 3 foot tall, sat in front of the 9-foot speakers with his hands on his fucking, his waist and listened to the whole 9-minute song and said, "I rock." when
This
it was
rocks. I rock. And we thought that was so funny.
done.
And then we're kind of like, and now like I'm reminded that we spent $30,000 looping a guitar.
Well, that was
So
the 90s.
okay, so on to Ode to Maybe. So this is a song where I felt very much alone. It's a song that I wrote and I just didn't really attract the interest of anybody else in the band. So
Yeah, you were on your own with that one.
I really felt on my own, and I really just hate the guitar sounds. That was kind of done after, you know. But I still find that it's like kind of one of my favorite tracks. Lead in. So lead in night is like a movie at a laundromat. Like it's like this. The lyrics are kind of so free on that record that it's really one of my favorites. And if I could bottle my hopes in a store-bought scent, they'd be nutmeg peach and they'd pay the rent. And I'd ride a horse and I'd teach a course. Like, it's actually just kind of one of my favorite.
Stephan, like the thing with you and your fucking band, it's always been two different things, right? You're really good with words, okay? So probably the better move would have been to not have other clowns helping you, because I mean clowns, that's a bad word. I didn't mean that. People. But you know, I think that like that the impetus of a lot of this stuff came from you, and then you kind of dumped it on these other guys, and so you kind of like, okay, it goes G, C, D, whatever, and then you let them kind of like, you know, make leads and stuff like that. But maybe, you know, like with hindsight, it would have been better, you know,
Just make your own fucking leads.
To make your own fucking leads.
But a song that we actually did do together was Red Summer Sun. That was the first track that we recorded. And that's also one of my favorite songs on the record. And one I'd like to do again because, again, it was just kind of all over the place. And I know that we had these expectations after having these sort of giant hit songs on the first record. And one thing I was really proud about with Blue was the Red Summer Sun. That was just this bizarre, weirdo, prog rocky, hard rock, stoner, just you know,
kind of jam like Space Odyssey.
Yeah. And I just felt incredibly free of like, yeah, we're not going to do what you fucking told us. And that's what I have to say about that one. Same thing with Camouflage. This album, actually, now that I'm looking at this,
Camouflage is like, you know, I've been listening to this record recently, which is
23 years on.
I mean, like 20, but I have been. And Camouflage really sticks out to me because I feel like that it's a piece of art. It really stands by itself. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it could have been better. Yeah, of course, I guess. With 23 years.
What, Camouflage?
Hindsight,
Camouflage can't be better. Be a dream in color, even on a winter's night. Picture George Seurat, afternoon bathed in light. Camouflage, to me, is one of the most, like, the idea of the song in my head is what's actually on tape. It's Pro Tools. Yeah.
Pro Tools. No, but we recorded the tape. Okay, so just to clarify.
We recorded to tape, and then we put it on fucking Pro Tools.
We recorded everything to tape first.
Yes.
And then after we went to tape, then we bounced it to Pro Tools. By the way, when we recorded the fucking record, I mean, with the drums with Brad, I mean, we geeked out so hard on the sounds of the drums going to tape that I remember at one point, I don't even know if you're aware of this, but we had done a song for Black Lab. That fucking band Black Lab.
Yeah.
And so Brad came in and I recorded him because whoever the fucking A&R guy was from that dumb band, I shouldn't say that, that band. And so we recorded drums, and they hit us back and they said, "Are these samples? They sound so great." And we were like, "No, this is just what we've been working on." It's a good sounding record.
Yeah, again, Farther. Farther was a song that I just could not get anything, kind of any help on that track, and I played most of that stuff.
That's an old song.
It
right?
is, and all I think about is waiting and all the people we are changing into. We're gonna do a little.
Did we do it right? I don't
No.
know. Tell me.
No,
I don't think
no.
we did.
Farther should have been done much better.
I think that's like a personal song of yours.
I was very alone in the studio at that time. I spent a lot of time with it was just you and me in that studio on making that record.
Yes, we did.
It was kind of we were kind of at the demise of that iteration of the band, and that that's the thing about relationships, they come and go. The thing is to just continue to be musical and continue to serve the sound in your head. And I think that Farther is an example of when you do try to rely on dependencies in relationships. You could be doing that actually at the expense of serving the sound in your head.
I felt like we were searching for the way to do that song, because I know that you had written it earlier.
For $800,000, we shouldn't have rushed that one. We should have just spent $900,000, Jason.
Yeah, right. I mean, because we could have done it for $50,000, and we could have pocketed the rest.
Let's get on to Slow Motion. So Slow Motion we recorded, and Sylvia Rohn had.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Do
you remember when she showed up to the studio
and asked us not to do it?
Yeah.
And she and it was because Sylvia Rohn is the president of Elektra Records.
She's about as heavy as it gets.
Yeah, and she signed us. By the time we got a record deal, a whole bunch of people were coming after us, and I just found Sylvia to be kind of the smartest, the most vivacious, the most charismatic, the most convincing. And one thing that she wanted on that second record was, I think the chairman of that whole record group had his son was a teacher who was shot, was a victim of gun violence.
Right.
And she thought this would be so upsetting
There's something deeper than.
Yeah, that was so she didn't want that on the record, and the song's like a classic, and we had to put it out on records later, and it's one that everybody knows every word to every song.
Well,
but I do love the sound of it. I love the recording, and I think that one was actually done in Skywalker, wasn't it?
Yeah, that song is very simple. The recording is very.
I think I did that one in Skywalker before I met anybody in the band.
It was before. I didn't record that. So
Yeah.
you recorded that with Eric.
I recorded that with. I didn't record it with Eric Valentine. I recorded it with David Gleason at Skywalker way before I met anybody in the band, and I wanted to put. I should have put it on the first record.
You should have, but as I remember when we were dealing with it, is that they didn't want it on the first record.
No.
And Sylvia crushed it.
Yeah.
And then when the second record came about,
She crushed it again.
When you had some momentum after selling fucking million records or whatnot, then do you remember her showing up? I mean, like we were at the studio with fucking Tom Lord Alge. And
oh yeah,
do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then like she pulls up in a fucking limo.
Yeah.
And she's sitting out there in a fucking car for 30 minutes, and then some dude walks in. He's like, I present Sylvia Rohn or something like that. Like, ladies and gentlemen.
I know, they were like fucking royalty.
It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, okay, yeah, we see you out in the car. And that's when we banged about that song with her. And you were very adamant. You're like, well, this record, Blue, is not going to come out if we don't put this song on it.
Yeah, and I thought I was going to get my way, but I didn't, because we put it on there without the lyrics.
Right, but at the moment, she kind of backed down. I remember
for a moment.
Well, at that moment, she
never backed down. She changed my videos after the fact. She very much had her hand in it.
I was trying to make you out to something, bro.
Thank you. Darkness coming up next. Darkness.
But you hit her hard. You hit her hard then. I remember that.
You played that song almost every night.
I do play slow motion almost every night, and everybody in the audience, when we play 10,000 seats, everybody sings every single word of that song, and so
well, there you have it.
So
I mean,
it people got the message.
that's a great song, and I remember all the
What?
Just to dwell on that for a second, just talk about the production on it, because it's almost like Jeff Buckley's Grace. There's just nothing in it. It's just you.
I was listening to Jeff Buckley. I was listening to Jeff Buckley's Grace when I was trying to do that, and it's upright bass with me playing guitar, and then there's a little bit of B3, just like 2 notes on B3, and that's about it. Ren Kleiss, who ended up doing all of the sound, he did all the sound for David Fincher's films. Also, he was producer on that track.
But that was an early song, right? I mean,
Yeah, it was before
like
my
when
first.
when did you write that song?
94 before I met
Before all this shit.
before I met anybody.
Before all of it.
Third Eye Blind was Third Eye Blind at the time before I had put together the first iteration of the band, and so it was just a studio project in my head where I would steal studio time, at Skywalker Ranch and worked with
Like
other
with
engineers
Ren
and producers and
and
worked with
those
those
guys,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's how that one came together. Okay, we got 2 more. Darkness. You remember anything about that? Blue,
Yeah.
come over.
Yes, of course. So Darkness for me is one of my favorite songs, if not my most favorite song on that album. And I feel like that song is I just love it. I mean, I think it's so great.
It's a song about sort of the terrors of suburbia, and I was kind of reminiscing about just the agonizing, gnawing boredom of suburban life.
Well,
It feels big though. Like I like that. Like it's a big. We were able to achieve a landscape, like the big kind of canyon size.
It lives up to its name. I mean, it's a very dark song, and I also feel that song is the last song that you and Kevin did together. Like in the sense that like what he did and what you did was harmonious, because the guitar parts on that. They're so complimentary of the vocals, and then when it hits on the chorus, I mean, it's just like it's amazing. I love that song.
Was it recorded late in the?
I think that one was actually. I think that's when we were all kind of on the same page. You know? I mean, I remember going into making Blue.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're talking about Blue in a very sequential way right now. So like we're starting from the beginning of the album,
And we're almost at the end.
We're moving our way down.
And we're almost at the end of this podcast, Jason.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll let you see. But I guess my point then is that like with that song, it's very like it's both of it's everybody working together.
Yeah.
Like Brad, I remember working with Brad on the drums on that, and then
Yeah.
Kevin being around, you being around in the studio. I mean, we all believed in that song. I mean, I think that was a very important song to all of us. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we really remembered that.
No, I
you
think
know?
we were. I think that we were so taken over by the dysfunctionality of relationships, and it's interesting because now, when I record with Third Eye Blind, now that's the norm. Everybody gets in the room, and nobody has any titles or names, and we just start chasing after a sound, and we do it based on excitement, and there's this real easy joy in the search for it, and if I could, we were talking about like, if I knew that, if I could go back and go, the only thing that matters is you just get in here and let this thing happen. It's the only fucking thing that matters. That would be a good thing for future self to say to past self. What's the last? Oh, the last song on this album is Darwin.
I always love that song.
That's kind of my favorite. A spaceman fucked an ape and then cut out on the date. Now it's much too late.
Classic.
I was kind of making fun of Scientology.
Right. I remember,
But it kind of ends the whole record in that this record was kind of a watercolors impressionist record instead of being super specific, except for a song like Slow Motion and Never Let You Go. Well, Deep Inside of You too. But this album was one that had so much kind of willingness to just trust the initial expression of an idea, and that is something that to this day I find very difficult to kind of access, and it's something that actually makes me really proud of Blue. Thanks for being part of it, Jason.
It was my pleasure, Stephan. And I do think that we made something that's very special.
All right, there it is. That's the pot of wine, Blue edition.